the concept of leadership has been tweaked, it has been redefined, it has been taken off the shores of what it truly means. And it has affected our society, it has affected how people work with their life. Basically and literally, it has affected our productivity. And so the need for a conversation around leadership. Thank you for joining. I would like you to sit tight because the conversation today is going to affect a lot of mindsets. We're going to be talking about a lot of mindset dysfunction, and then we are going to be bringing light about leadership. We are going to be talking about what has affected nations, most especially the nation of Africa. What has made us what has affected our production sector, what has affected our distribution sector, what has affected our potentials, our talents, what has limited our growth in terms of innovations and technologies. We are going to be talking about it, and it is tied down with personal leadership. It was Miles Boron that gave an illustration. He said, the problem of the nation, if you want to solve the problem of the nation, you don't just start from up there. It is important for you to know the grassroots of what makes a nation. So there is a person, and the person comes together and make a family, right? Two people comes together and makes a family, right? Two families comes together and make a community, and then communities come together and make a local government, and then the local government makes up the state, and then the state makes up the nation. So every problem that affects the nation starts from the person. So if we are able to talk about personality, if we're able to redefine and address personal mindset stuff, we should be able to affect what happens up there in the nations. You know? So it is very important. You hear grassroots campaign. The problem too is a grassroots problem. And if we must affect the global peak in the pyramid, we should start with affecting how individuals think. And basically, we're going to be talking about leadership as a person because it affects a whole lot of what is currently going on in the nations, most especially in the nation, in the continent of Africa. So quickly, let's start with what culture has done to us when it comes to the concept of leadership. So if they tell you something like, what is a leader? It is okay for you to begin to think about a leader as somebody up there that has a group of people he's managing, he has authority over, which is not far from the truth, you know. But again, the conversation around the fact that if you are a leader, if everybody becomes a leader, because now we're talking about personal leadership, if everybody now becomes a leader, who would then be the follower? So when you have a contemplation that is surrounding that kind of thinking, you should try to understand that culture has done a lot of work when it comes to our idea of what leadership is. You know, we are victims of the British colonization. So these people made up our educational curriculum and have a large extent in our work curriculum, the ladder into career paths. These British people have taken out their time to coin it. And the purpose of them and the aim of, sorry, we had a quick network glitch. Now, as I was saying, the aim of this bridge, this impact they have caused in us, has limited us grossly, because they define leadership in a perspective and in a manner that has limited us from that time down to now. You know, their aim was to suppress. Their aim was to deceive and manipulate us, for us to feel inferior and for them to be superior. That was the only way they could lead us, because we had the mineral resources. They were able to harness our mineral resources and use us as labor power. For them to be able to get into our minds to that point, it was a gradual and intentional building. And one of the ways they were able to achieve that was teaching us that leadership is up there and followers are down there. Leadership is superior and followership is inferior. They built it in our minds and they succeeded. So a lot of people have been stuck there. They've not been, the culture has made it so thick that a lot of people don't believe that they can ever have anything to do with leadership. They believe that leadership is a big thing, it's a strong thing, and they are just safe being down there. I've had conversations with people, and then you hear inputs like, I don't think I can be able to pioneer something. I would rather be somebody to serve and be under. I would rather be an assistant. I would rather be a manager. I would rather be somebody down rather than being the leader of a firm or something. I don't know if you've come across conversations like that, somebody's mindset like that. It is not so bad, but it is so bad. The reason is because whether you like it or not, you will lead in one way or the other. If you don't lead a global sector, you will lead a family. As a father, you will lead your family. As a mother, you will lead your children. So if we don't understand the concept of leadership, we will eventually become a product of limitation when we get into the position where we are supposed to be taking charge of things. And if we must lead, we must understand the concept of personal leadership. People will need to understand that personal leadership is the beginning of an effective followership, as a matter of fact. You know, so I want us to have this conversation very quickly. So what then is leadership? What then is personal leadership? Personal leadership is self-discovery. Let's start this way. Now, our colonizers successfully sold to us. And there's this book I read by Thomas Sowell, Conquest and Culture. I don't know if you've read that. If you've read that and you're in the live stream, you can identify the comment section. Conquest and Culture. It's a historical book that breaks down the impact of the British colonization in Africa. You see how they successfully sold the concept of inferiority to Africans. They sold it so well that if you were not schooled outside, you will believe that everybody that is white is a superior, and you with your black skin, you're an inferior. They successfully did that. And the book on Conquest and Culture by Thomas Sowell breaks down all of that process. I recommend the book because it will open your eyes. You know? So if we must understand leadership, then we must break out of what culture has defined leadership to us. If we must understand leadership, then we must break out of the limitation that we are incapable of becoming something big into understanding that we ourselves, we were created with materials that does not do anything with smallness. So now it goes back to the foundation. The foundation is God. In the beginning, in the book of Genesis, the Bible speaking, it says, let us make man in our own image, after our own likeness. So now God created the human species, both male, both female, the human species, both black, both white. He created us in his image and after his likeness. His image is that we look like him. His likeness is so profound because it talks about functionality. So we function like God. So are you getting this? Our capacity as humans is the capacity of God. The capacity to create, the capacity to speak life, the capacity to make something new, manage it and make something big. Are you getting the whole idea? So when culture tells you are small, that's a big lie, because our original self is born of God, functions like God, looks like God, behaves like God. So if we must understand the true concept of leadership, breaking out of what culture has sold to us, then we must start looking at self-discovery. And the self-discovery is, who and what does God say we are? You are getting the whole picture. Now God says we are made in his image and after his likeness. We look like him, we function like him. That's so powerful. And if you are able to understand that, you find out that your capacity, your capability is limitless. Oh, that breaks my mind. I'm so excited right now. Because we are capable of doing unlimited things. So when culture tells you are limited, no, that's so wrong. Because you are not limited. When your environment tells you are limited, no, that's so wrong. You are not limited. When the economy tells you are limited, that's not true. You are not limited. Because in you is the capacity, the functionality of a divine entity, which is God. If you find out, if your self-discovery grows to that place, everything changes. Yes, everything changes. I'm so excited right now. Everything changes. You find that you are born of God. You find that you are a product of the creator of the whole universe. You don't, when that discovery hits you, you don't play on small grounds anymore. Your aim is up there. No matter what you are doing, you don't play on small grounds anymore. Even if you are selling pure water, your picture and your thinking towards the business of pure water won't be small anymore, because you have discovered that you are not born of anything small. You are born of the highest production material, which is the powers, the functionalities of God. Even if you are serving as a sales rep in a company, or even if you are a cleaner, you find out that you don't do anything small. And when that mindset dawns on you, there is absolutely nothing that will die in your hands. Because the capacity, not just to start, but to finish, and finish in a global visibility, begins to herald your head. This is it. Personal leadership is self-discovery. If you understand the materials you were made with, everything changes. The game completely changes. You don't become the pawn anymore. You become the king, the maker of the game. This is the secret behind success in every career, every industry. And mind you, the world is desperately in need of leaders. Yeah, the world is desperately in need of leaders. The world is desperate. The reason why there is so much to be done is because there are yet to be leaders to be born. I don't know if you get that. The reason why there is so much to be done is because there are yet enough leaders to be born. People that will take charge. People that will make excellence out of little. People that will create results, solutions out of complaints and murmuring. It begins with self-discovery. So now you Africans now will have to sit down and redefine what Africans will need to sit down now and redefine what leadership is. Leadership is not the opposite of followership, because as a follower, even as a follower, the leadership spirit needs to be in that place that you are managing as a follower. Because you have discovered personal leadership, you will begin to make good use, you will begin to make positive impact in the sector you are managing, even as a follower. Mind you, leadership, the 12 disciples that Jesus carefully selected and anointed to change this world as leaders, they were called followers. So tonight, I just want to buttress on the whole idea that we need to come out of culture. What culture has sold to us, we need to come out of it. We need to come out of what culture has sold to us, that it is that we are limited and we can do very little. No, we are not limited and we can do so much. The reason is because we are born of God. Until we begin to rediscover ourselves as a people that have a raw material of divinity, when we begin to rediscover ourselves, everything begins to change. Oh, that was what changed it for me. I was a businessman? My first company was, if you know how I managed my first business, oh my God, it was not something I would gist you anybody, as a matter of fact, because it was a total disaster. The reason was because I was managing a business without the leadership spirit. Personal leadership was not there. Because if I understood that I am born of God in the sense that the same DNA that flows in the creator of the heavens and the earth, the one that created the sun, that has not been able to be recreated, the one that created the seeds, created me. If I understood that about myself, my business will totally change. My career, my perspective on the role I play in the industry I find myself will totally change. Oh, that is it. If you understand this now, I think we are good for the night. We are good for the night. Mind you, do you know that the children of Israelites, when God wanted to set them free from Egypt, They have been sold the culture of inferiority for a long time. They were sold the culture of onions and garlic, crumbs and inabilities for a very long time. That even after they were liberated out of Egypt, they were still not free. The Lord had to take them through another route to wash off all the whole generation that were sold that culture of limitation before they became a prosperous nation. So culture has to break. The same culture that was sold to the children of Israel, like that made them wander in the desert for 40 years. Instead of a journey that should take 40 days. It's the same work the Lord needs to do with us. We need to go deep into the studies, into self-discovery, into the capacity that we are born of God. We have the capacity to create big things. We have the capacity to make. We have the capacity to create solutions. Until we understand personal leadership, until we understand personal discovery, self-discovery, until we understand that we are born of God, there will so much be limitations. And that limitation can never grow or can never harness or can never power the will and the plan of God for our lives. This is the word I bring to us this evening. And I'm so excited that I've been able to share them with you. You know, so excited. It's always an exciting time. This is Stewardship Conversation, and I'm happy that you've joined. We are going to be talking about how to enjoy, how to understand personal leadership by next week. So I'm hoping to see you next week Thursday, same time, 8 p.m. Thank you for joining, and I hope you're blessed. Me, I'm blessed. I see you next week.